Welcome everyone to Rattler Up with Coach Walsh live from San Marcos High School and the Rattler Broadcast Studio. This is where you've got to be each Monday night to keep track of all things Rattler Nation. I'm your host CJ Odom, and with me as always, head football coach and athletic director for San Marcos CISD, Coach John Walsh. Coach, we have got a lot of great stuff to talk about this week.
We got a full studio.
Absolutely. Well, coming up, we'll have a lot to talk about, but let's take a minute and once again congratulate and thank our student production team led by Jack Moore and our VYPE producer Josh. Set us up with another example here of what they could do in the production studio. We're up to a 4-camera setup, and I like being the guinea pig. I don't know about you, but we kind of are a guinea pig for their production and their products.
Well, they're 100% on us walking in and something being different, so let's and they're good at it, so we just roll with it.
Right, so we get to be the experimentation ground, but it leads to some incredible projects by that audiovisual team at San Marcos High School, so we always thank them a lot. But coming up this week on Rattler Up, we've got a lot to catch up on since our last show over spring break. So much is going on. We're going to get you caught up with everything going on around Rattler Nation. And we have two special groups of guests here in the studio live with us. We're going to get the baseball team alongside head coach Brian Webb, and we're going to get the softball team led by softball coach Kathy Stoughton. I got my ball cap on. It's baseball season, Coach. I've made no qualms about the fact of my bias. It's baseball season. I'm excited.
Oh, it's always good. We have a good time in the gym in the winter, and then it's always great to get outside and hear just to get the diamond and the ball and the hot dogs. The whole field of the ball field is a great change.
There's probably one of the best things that happens in Rattler Nation is when you have a softball game, baseball game going on. Same time, you got the crowd, double the crowd, you got two games going on, double the sounds, double the smells, concession stand cranking. So make sure we're going to give you some time later on this show. We'll let you know about some times this week that you can catch that Rattler softball, Rattler baseball. But go to the Rattler Athletics site and check it out. Games coming up there in the middle of district play. This is going to be a huge, huge time of year for them. But to start tonight, Coach, we got to talk some powerlifting. This has been the season for state powerlifting meets over this week and next. And over spring break, the girls' state meet took place, and our very own senior Ezra Mendez was there representing our Rattlers, and she did incredibly well there. You see her stats, and we're going to take a look at this live in action, Coach. We've got a video from her meet. Now, you were there for this video. Did you take this video as well, or you were there when this was being shot?
I took video exactly right next to her dad, but I got her dad shot better.
Okay,
mine wasn't near as good.
You take a look here. You can see in the picture-in-picture here that this is our video. This is her second lift in the squat, and in this lift, she actually breaks her personal record of 445 pounds. So tell us what it was like. You are literally right there in where this is taking place.
Yeah, it's great because when you're one of the last lifters, it means you got a shot to win it. And she, on all three of her lifts, she was one of the last lifters. This in particular, she already broke her PR, but she knew she had to put big weight up in the squat. And what I liked about her last two lifts is the first lift she got DQ'd. They said she didn't go low enough. We blamed it on Coach Kleiber because he was the one calling her up. But she responded great. She went low the last two lifts, and she went with a mission. I've been watching her work. She's a great ambassador for San Marcos. She can sing like a canary.
Absolutely.
And then she can lift some weights.
Yes, she can. You saw the stats there on the screen. If you missed them, she finished with 460 pounds in the squat, 225 in the bench, 385 in the deadlift, and a third place at state, a state medalist once again for the state powerlifting team. So Ezra Mendez making us proud. Like you said, multi-talented student. She's
no doubt.
in the FFA. She's in the choir. She's in the powerlifting.
She's one of our trainers.
She's an athletic trainer. I mean, and that's the story of Rattler Nation is kids going above and beyond and representing in a multitude of ways. But talk to us a little bit about powerlifting. We know that the boys are going to have their powerlifting meet coming up at state, and we've got a couple of representatives in Abilene this weekend as well.
Yeah, so we knew Zach Decker was probably going to reach his total to qualify, and then he actually set a regional record last week, and then
his total at 1,275 pounds, right?
Yep. And then Zeke worked his way. I don't know that he was a favorite to get in, but if you know anything about Zeke, he's a workaholic, and you see him either on the basketball court and then straight to the weight room, and we're real proud of him and glad he's going to get to compete in Abilene.
Right. Well, and so talk to us. You've talked to me a little bit off air about. Obviously some things you've kind of inherited, some things you were able to build your way, but talk to us about powerlifting from the time you got here to what you have now.
Yeah, so I've had 3 different jobs in Brownwood and in Denton and in San Marcos. And in Brownwood, when I grew up as a young coach, my first 10 years, powerlifting was a big deal in the state of Texas as part of our program. As we went to Denton, it was in the Metroplex, it was not a big a big deal, and we didn't make it a big deal where we were. Didn't even have it.
No.
And it's when I came back to San Marcos, I've seen the value in it. Our kids dig it here already.
They love it.
So we just add what we do as we train in our sports, and we just make powerlifting a supplement for us.
Well, it's been rocking and rolling for us. Really represent Rattler Nation well. So Ezra, great job. We're proud of you, and Zach and Ezekiel.
And I'm gonna tell you,
go get it this weekend.
Coach Harrelson's done a great job. I mean, she studies her craft. She knows what it takes. You know, because there's a method to all this. You just don't go in there and lift and your matches go up.
There's strategy to where you head in, where you jump out,
and just where you're, and then how you rep going into like even this week, how you're going to work going into state. So. Big shout out to Crystal Harrison, our powerlifting coach.
All right, so that's just the start of a lot of great things going on. It was a very eventful spring break, needless to say. And so once again, a successful year for our Rattler powerlifting team. And we're going to transition now and head to a sport that's just getting their district season underway, the Rattler baseball team. And so we're going to be joined by members of the team. We're going to be joined by head coach Brian Webb. And so baseball season, again, spring break. There's no rest for the weary when it comes to baseball and softball. That spring break, there's no break involved at all. These teams, both baseball and softball, are answering the call, practices, tournaments, and we're going to talk a little bit about that as we're joined live in studio with head coach Brian Webb and several players from the team. We'll get them to introduce themselves here in a minute. And so, Coach Webb, Rattler Baseball, thanks for joining us here on Rattler Up.
Thank you. Appreciate you having us in.
All right, well, the baseball team, they are sitting at 11-8-2 overall, 2-1 in district. They lost the district opener at East Central 2-0, but rebounded to take 2 straight from Clemens, 6-0 and 5-1. And so there they are, our Rattler baseball team. So, Coach, we'll introduce the players in a moment, but we want to talk to you first. We're getting started with district play. Obviously, that's the important thing. What did you do in pre-district? We've talked before about scheduling being a big issue, but what kind of strategies and what kind of work did you put the guys through to get them ready for district?
Well, we went to the toughest tournaments we could find, toughest teams we could find. We suffered some bumps and some bruises to get where we were, and we went to East Central and laid an egg that first district ball game, but rebounded last week. There's a lot of things to learn from a loss, and a lot of the teams that we played, including the #1 team in the state 6A, and we learned some lessons, and I think we put those lessons to use last week against Clemens, and I think it's just going to help us down the road. So we went and played on the road in Pearland. We went to the Co-Mile tournament, and then played in our own tournament. And each of those teams were good in their own way. They did different things, and it put us in positions that we had to make plays and learn how to play the game the right way.
And I think that's something that Coach Walsh and I have talked since we first started doing this show. I think your program has probably been a really great example of really stretching those kids out in the preseason, get them ready, put them in the top. We want to play the top teams at the top places, and that's an attitude that's continued for all your years as a head coach. Is that right?
I believe in our 19 games. I believe we played 15 top 20 teams. That's what we're about. Our philosophy, I try to teach them. That's why we hit the weight room 4 days a week in off season. We'll play anybody, anywhere, anytime. We're trying to make a run deep in the playoffs. I learned from Coach Walsh when we got here, a district championship's not the goal. It's to get into the tournament and be hot when you get there. So all my good teams that I've ever had, we hit about April 1st, April 5th, somewhere in there. We get hot, and that's when we roll. So that's where we're starting to play our best baseball right about now, and we're getting healthy. The 3-day weekend we had, they came back fresh today at practice and ready to roll.
Well, when you have an experienced team like he's got coming back, it's easy to throw him to the wolves like he does, and if the leadership on the team and the experience builds off it, then he'll be peaking at the right time. Like, and he's given dates. I know in football it's Halloween for us, and April 1st is a good time to start starting to play good ball.
Right. And I think we just had that example in powerlifting. We have a kid that early in the season we weren't sure. But he finished exactly how he's supposed to finish, and he's headed to state this weekend.
State meet.
Right. And so, Coach, as we talk schedule again, you and I talked off air. This year's schedule is a lot different than what we've been used to, right? This season, correct me if I'm wrong, you get a home and away each week with your district opponents, but then you come back and catch a third game with every district opponent to finish the season. Not something we've seen in the last few years. How does it play to our strengths, and how do you change as a manager dealing with a schedule like that in district?
Well, baseball, you know, the split's the way to go. If you win at home and split them on the road, and you know, you can take 2 out of 3 all the way through, you'll be in pretty good shape. But it's hard to go in there. Baseball, you don't play every day like you do in the pros. It's hard to go in there and say we're going to split. But you know, 2 out of 3 out of the series would put you at 10-5, probably win you a district title. But we're taking them one game at a time. You know, we've got Steele coming in tomorrow. They're a solid ball club. We know what we're up against. We played them 18 times in the last 14 years, and all but one game has been decided by less than 3 runs. So we know what we're up against. They beat New Braunfels on Thursday. New Braunfels is a quality club. So Steele's going to come in. They're a great challenge. They're a great 6A program. They're going to play hard, and we know what we're up against. But our schedule has got us to where we need to be. You know, we'll worry about Friday when Friday gets here. Our pitching staff is and our defense is what we thrive off of, and we think if we give up less than 3 runs a game, we should win every ball game. So with our pitching staff and our defense and what we return defensively and on the mound, we think we can hold people there and outscore you 4-3 if we need to.
Awesome. Well, let's get to meet the players then. So, guys, we'll just share the mic, pass it around. But why don't we start off? Just introduce yourself. Let us know your name, what grade you're in, and what position or positions you play for the Rattler baseball team.
Sunray Estrada, catcher, senior.
KG Webb, shortstop, number 1.
Gavin Gomez, pitcher and outfielder, senior.
Stephen Wilder, first base, pitcher, senior.
Major Pauline, right fielder, and senior.
All right, so now I'm going to ask each of you to chime in on this. I want 5 different answers because I think there's probably lots to choose from. I've been with the school in this district for a long time. I've seen this program grow. I admit my bias to loving baseball and softball. So you guys obviously have played for a ton of different baseball teams across your years, Little League teams, select ball clubs, different things. I'm curious about each of you's answer to what makes Rattler baseball unique. If you got a mic in your hand, one of you are first.
I think it's the bond we have, being able to be with each other every day and spending a lot of time outside of baseball and in class and outside of school.
The hard work and the effort that we have to put in because he just expects so much from us.
I'd probably go with somebody, piggyback off him. I'd say the brotherhood and the bonds we have. Like select, you see everybody every weekend, but in school ball, you're seeing everybody every day practicing and blood, sweat, and tears with each other.
I hate to keep it going there, but definitely brotherhood because, I mean, everybody on the baseball team is my best friend, and that's the only people I really hang out with. So, brotherhood.
Yeah, the experience we all have and the bonds we've shared together, and we've known each other since elementary, every single one of us. And again, to the brotherhood, we know how each and everyone works in their own way, and we know how to cope with everyone in different ways, and we all know how to be a whole unit and be a great team.
Okay, so we'll stay with you since you got the mic there. You've seen this team for a few years now. What do you think is one of the strongest aspects of this year's ball club?
I think the grit we have and like the toughness we have. We're all very experienced in different ways, and we're all 3 or 4 year guys. And I think that's the big thing about this team is we have experience, and none of us are rookies anymore. So everyone has a task to complete, and they're expected to complete it.
I'll come over here to you if you kind of to piggyback off that. Since you guys are you mentioned a lot of returning veterans, been there, done that in the Rattler baseball program. So then how do you keep practices fresh? What's practice like for you guys to where you're not falling into bad habits? What do the coaches do to keep you guys headed in the right direction, not just kind of coasting it, so to speak?
Well, I mean, he always pursues that we need to make new mistakes and not the old ones because, I mean, we're all seniors. We all know what we need to be doing.
What about you? What do you think?
Definitely competition. He prides us on competing every day in practice with the guy behind you, the guy in front of you. Just go out there and compete.
Awesome. So we'll go down here to the couch here. What has been the most difficult thing about this season in particular so far? Every season has different challenges. What about this year? What's been the challenge?
I wouldn't say nothing really been difficult, but the injuries, we've had a couple nicks and a couple strains. And finding the key people off the bench, you're not gonna. He always says that you're not gonna win with the 3-hole or 4-hole up the bat with the bases loaded and 2 outs. You're gonna have to have that pinch hitter come in and get even a blooper gonna win it, but you're gonna have to get a hit from a pinch hitter. So we're trying to find the roles and we've been doing it the whole preseason, or I guess say non-district, but we're finding them. We found them now, so when that spot comes, it's expected to produce, and it's not just a 50-50.
Awesome. All right, so one thing we're gonna talk to softball girls about this too, but especially in baseball, and I prepped you guys for this part. Superstition plays a big part of baseball. Am I right? And so I told you guys in the pre-show I didn't want you to give away team secrets, but I've been in that dugout with you guys. I know there's certain times of when you slap on the pole, when everybody doesn't touch the pole, when you wear your hat backwards, when you sit on a bucket, you don't sit down, you grab a glove. So the ones that are not team secrets.
I've been in this dugout. You're asking a loaded question right there.
It could be our last live Rattler Up, but what are some of the superstitions in Rattler baseball? What are some of the things on game day that you got to do with it? Get a game going. They're organizing who doesn't get the mic right now, and that's fair.
Me personally, I tend to wear the same thing I wore the game before to school. Honestly, it's washed though. Promise, it's washed. But I tend to wear the same outfit because if it works that day, it's gonna work today. Absolutely. And I don't plan on changing anything else. And I feel like the whole team's like that. When we all wear the same stuff, we tend to do good and trust on each other. So.
Okay.
I probably should not share mine on here. I got a couple, but yeah, you don't want to hear them.
I'll do everything left first, so left sock first, left shoe, left batting glove, and right batting glove. Everything. It's got to be a specific order.
All right.
I don't really have no superstitions except for in between innings when we come from defense. I put our pitch call sheet in the same spot every time because I always catch good like that. I feel good about myself.
All right.
I mean, I've got a bunch, and they're all you wouldn't notice it, but the big one I'd say is like if I don't go up there and I don't have a good at bat or I don't square the ball up or get a hit, you could say I'm gonna switch gloves right there because them gloves aren't doing me good. So as soon as I get in the dugout, them dugs are on the floor. I mean them gloves are on the floor, and I'm getting new ones on.
They're done. They didn't get you.
They didn't do me well, so I'm gonna give new ones on.
All right. Well, I appreciate you sharing, and I also appreciate what you didn't share because that was probably smart. So give you guys one more round with the microphones. Tell us about what your plans are for after high school, whether baseball related or not. When you get done at San Marcos High School, what are some things you want to do? We'll just let you pass the mic around and tell everybody.
I plan to play at Tarleton State next year and for 4 years, and just plan on, just keep playing baseball and doing good in school and getting a degree.
Definitely play baseball at the next level. Not sure yet, but get a degree and enjoy baseball at the next level.
Going to Coastal Bend, junior college, and just, like they said, going forward, playing on the next level and just doing the best I can.
I'll be heading out to Florida National University out in Hialeah, close to Miami.
Okay.
I'll be playing the next 4 years there.
Okay.
I still got a year left. I'm a junior, so I still got some football to be playing with Coach Walsh. But after that, then I got a baseball season. But then after that, I'm gonna stay here, chill at the river until baseball time comes in San Marcos.
All right, Coach. There's got to be. I mean, it's a dumb question, but it's worth saying. There's just got to be an extra source of pride when you have young men come through your program and then get to continue to play at the next level.
Well, I've seen all this bunch grow up since they were 3 years old, and we've got, I think, 7 or 8. Walter was he's got 3 or 4 offers right now. He's just got to make a decision. We've got another Division I guy signee, and to see these guys get the opportunity to go play, they deserve it. Their grades are good. They have great character. They're raised the right way, and I'm hard on them. There's no doubt. I'm strict on them, hard on them, and I coach them real hard. But I can coach them hard because I love them, and I tell them every night I love them. So it's fun to see them, and great things are expected. I told them we need to hang something on the wall out there. Nothing's ever been hung up there before. So that's the goal and the expectation. And I'm excited every morning to put my socks on to go out and coach them. So when you're not excited to put your socks on in the morning to go coach, it's when you need to get out. And when you're still excited to go coach, great things happen for you. So great kids and great program.
Coach, great program.
I can champion. I just champion the brotherhood thing. And it's not just with the players. It's the combination of not just Coach Webb, but Coach Davis and Jeremy and Coach Cogdell and Sobrano. They, if you're just an innocent bystander like I was 2.5 years ago walking in, they coach them hard. but you can tell they've known each other for a long time, the adults through the kids, and everybody responds to each other, and it's a quality program being run out there.
All right, well, we're excited to see what the season, how it plays out for you guys. We know you're chasing that playoff berth, and we're going to be there to watch, and you need to be there as well. Be out to those baseball fields Tuesdays and Fridays. Check the schedule. We're going to tell you later on about this week, but you got all the way through April to come out and see Rattler baseball. So, Coach Webb, gentlemen, thanks for joining us on Rattler Up. We appreciate you.
Thank you for having us.
All right, we're going to head to break, but when we return from commercial, we're going to be joined in studio. We're going to switch diamonds and talk softball with the head coach, Kathy Stoughton, and her softball team. All that and more when we return here on Rattler Up. Welcome back to Rattler Up with Coach Walsh live from the Rattler broadcast studio at San Marcos High School. We are staying on the diamond, but we're switching to a larger and yellower ball as we switch to softball. We talk with head coach Kathy Stoughton and members of the Rattler softball team. Coach, thanks for joining us here on Rattler Up.
Well, thank you for having us.
All right, we'll introduce the girls here in just a moment. We always like to talk to the coaches first. Now, Coach, you've been on the show before. A lot of people know this story, but we want to make sure those that don't know, you are a lifetime Rattler. And so tell us and remind everybody again your journey from Rattler student to Rattler coach.
So my family has been in San Marcos for a long time. My grandfather actually graduated from San Marcos High School in 1926. So we've been here for a very, very long time, and it's great. It's a blessing to be able to come back to my alma mater. My parents went through, my aunts, my uncles, my sister, and to be able to be here and coach at my home has been an absolute blessing. I came through here. I graduated in '93. I was part of the softball team that went to the first ever UIL state tournament. I was on the state championship basketball team, and I was also in the marching band and played a little volleyball. So I try to do a little bit of everything.
That's awesome. Well, Coach, you've had an incredible grind in this pre-district season. We were just talking to Coach Webb about that. You follow that same role model of just let's get them the best competition, get them the best games we can in advance of district. But you were talking to me a little off air about just an incredible grind that you went through over these last few weeks. Tell everybody about just the amount of softball that has been played by this team recently.
So we're in probably the 5th week of the season. And if you go back over a little bit over a month, we played about 24 games in that stretch. And I think it's been an adjustment for the girls because over the last few years, we've had COVID-shortened tournaments and seasons. And then we've had seasons where there weren't as many teams, or we've had weather-shortening tournaments and games. Last year, we lost an entire tournament and a half a tournament due to weather. But this year, the weather's been great, but that's been kind of tough on us, playing 6 full games, 3 weekends out of 4, including the games that we played sandwiched in on the Tuesday and the Fridays.
And so that work is certainly going to pay off. As we know, the team started district. They sit 1-1 in district play, as does every team in 27-6A. Is that something that you've seen before? Everybody's sitting at the same record like this?
Well, we've been in this district before, and it's always a very competitive district, even though there's 6 teams. And unlike baseball, we only do 2 rounds. We don't play 3. So you have to take care of your business in 10 games. And that was big for us to come in and knock off Clemens to open district. We struggle a little bit against Steele, but we feel like we match up well with each of the teams in the district. Everybody in the district is pretty evenly matched, so you pretty much have to show up every single night, which is also a blessing when you get into the playoffs because then you're more prepared because you've had to battle every night and had no games off or any nights off where you had weak competition.
Right, and so similar to what we talked about with Coach Webb, I mean, it's about getting hot at the right time, right? And we got an 8-game race to the finish is what we have left, right?
Right. If you look at it, I told the girls we're already starting the 2nd round of district next Friday. And so it came around really quickly. And like baseball, I always try to get us a tough preseason, and we've played a really tough preseason this year. In our tournament, I know that we were 2-0 to Iowa Park. Iowa Park is not only ranked 12th in the state of Texas, but they're ranked 12th overall in all classes, from A all the way to 6A. And it was a tight ball game, 0-0, and they just pushed ahead of us in the 6th, 2-0. But we've seen competition like that all season, so these girls have had to grind through every single game. We have to be ready to play because we had a formidable opponent in the other dugout.
That's awesome. Well, let's go ahead and meet the team. So, girls, we'll give you a chance to pass the mics around. And why don't you introduce yourself, your grade, and what position you play with Rattler softball?
My name is Eliza Lozano. I'm a senior this year, and I play center field.
My name is Ava Serna. I play shortstop, and I'm a junior.
I'm Jessica DeLeon. I'm a catcher, and I'm a junior.
All right, so I want to get all of yours take on this one. We talked about the grind, 24 games in a very short amount of time. So for each of you, what was that like for you personally? 24 games. Have you ever had a grind like that? And what was it like for you playing that much softball?
I would say it's definitely just a take back into select, just playing ball every weekend and spending it every day with the same group of girls.
Yeah, I mean, this sport's just a grind. Like, I mean, it's just what you have to do. I mean,
you just accept that that's just part of softball.
It's just part of
Yeah.
softball. I mean, like,
I think some people may be hearing 24 games and you're thinking, yeah, it's softball, right?
yeah, I mean, that's a sport.
What about you? How was that 24 game run to you?
It was kind of a struggle. You know, we had our injuries here and there, but we got through it, and we're ready. We're still
Feel like you're better at the end of it? Because that's the point, right?
Yes.
Good, good. All right, well, let's start with Ava then. Ava, junior, all-state shortstop. You're committed to Texas A&M International. You lead the team in batting average, hitting .478. That's an unbelievable batting average. And so we asked the baseball players about practice. Tell us about practice with this team and what it's like for your softball team under Coach Stoughton. What is practice like, and how does that get you guys ready for all these games?
We grind. We always. Let me see. let me think real quick.
They're there early in the morning, I can tell you that.
Yeah, we
Lots
are
of
here
hours.
early, and then we're here also really late too. Stoughton and Villegas and Valdez pushed us really hard, and we just want to get better and get first in district.
Awesome. Well, Eliza, you are a senior, varsity golfer, tied for third on the team in hits. You're also going to graduate with an associate's degree through our early college high school program. So again, Rattler's doing it on the field and in the classroom. But you've seen several teams now as a senior. What is the strongest part, in your opinion, of this year's softball team?
I would just say that pretty much feeding off baseball, the connection of the girls. I think we all get along very well. And going back to those 24 games, we all see each other, and we couldn't even get tired of each other. We were so
Hope
tight.
you like everybody because you're going to spend all your time together, right?
Exactly.
All right. Then on the end of the couch there, we got Miss Jessica. She's a junior, already committed to New Mexico. She was a regional powerlifting qualifier, leads a team in RBI, as well as extra base hits. So you are a multi-sport athlete. What is it about softball specifically that brings you back? Why do you love softball?
I think it's just like a family thing. Baseball's been going around in my family, and my dad just got me into it, and I just fell in love. And powerlifting, I fell in love with powerlifting, and I knew it was going to help me get through softball too. And after I first joined powerlifting, I did hit a couple more home runs. It did help me out. So yeah. So I love
Opposite
that.
field home runs too.
All right, going opposite field, nice. Well, so for all of you, we talked about it's an 8-game race. What do each of you, and I'll ask all three of you to answer, what do each of you think is the key, in your opinion, for this team to get through these last 8 games and get that playoff berth?
Honestly, just our hitting. Like, our hitting needs to be on, and we need to put a lot of runs up so we can win.
Okay.
I'll cap on that. I definitely say hitting. I think we're a very good, well-rounded team, and just utilizing everything and playing to the best of our ability.
I think just being what's it called, like trying to make less mistakes on defense.
Okay.
And just being just I don't know how to say it.
Playing a cleaner game.
A cleaner game, just being more clean and, like they said, hitting, and that would help us win.
All right. Coach, what are your thoughts? 8-game race. What's the focus for you as a manager?
Well, for us, we talk about hitting. We talk about we need to score runs every game, and that's a big thing for us. And sometimes we get a little too defensive. We have a defensive mindset where we're trying not to make a mistake instead of trying to not strike out instead of trying to get a base hit. Or do we want the ball every inning? Do we want the ball every pitch, even when the game's on the line? And so for us, it's just to play a clean game defensively and to have the offensive output behind it. When Addie's on, she pitches really well. And if Addie's off, we've got Kaylee there to back her up as well. And one thing I would like to say also for us this year is that we graduated 8 seniors last year, which is an incredibly big class. And I kind of call this year our new faces and new places. So we have a lot of these girls who've actually had to move around and play different positions. They may have started at a position last year, but they're in a completely different position this year. And we've also battled some injuries as well. Some key injuries with CJ going down, and Eliza's done a great job stepping in as the leadoff hitter and taking over center field. So they've adapted really well, and that's why we're 1-1, and we're ready to get at Judson tomorrow.
All right, and we'll talk about that in a minute. Lots of opportunities, again, to get out there and watch this team because it's a lot of fun. So, girls, I want to talk to you about superstitions as well. We know that there's some stuff that has to happen when there's 2 outs, or there's stuff that has to happen when there's runners on. So, again, without giving away team secrets, tell us a little bit about what does it look like for the fan that doesn't normally get to sit in the dugout and see what's going on in there on game days to get the luck flowing on a softball team.
Oh. They want me to say Jimmy, our pet piñata. You might have seen him in some of our earlier videos.
So tell folks about it.
Jimmy's basically a piñata that we got my freshman year, and we just ran with it. One of the girls went to Dollar General and got a piñata, and we ended up beating Lake Travis that game. First team in the district to beat Lake Travis, so that definitely had a new demeanor on the on the season.
Now, I know in softball, a lot of times the drums start to get involved. Do we get the drum work going in our softball? Who's the drummer? Do we have multiple drummers?
I'm one of them.
It's loud.
So talk to us about it. So how do you decide when to drum? You got folks watching that don't know softball and maybe don't know these rules. Educate the folks at home about how you drum in softball.
She just hits the bucket.
Bro, I just hit the buckets. They start a chant. I just have to be on beat and just go with the flow.
All right, so Coach Soten, I think drums may be a part of your answer here, but give the folks that don't know, give the sales pitch. Why do they need to be out at the fields watching this team play?
Well, you can see they're goofy. They're a lot of fun. It's a lot of fun. We have a lot of fun, but we play well, and we have fun on Tuesdays and Fridays. That's when you want to have your most fun, but. They're a great group. They have me laughing. Sometimes it's impossible for me to stay angry at them. They're making fun of me constantly. They got to find something. But they play hard. They have a lot of spirit. They have a lot of character. We have a lot of great girls like you're talking about. We got some well-rounded girls here. You got Jess, Eliza, involved in multiple sports, multiple activities. You got girls that are playing through injuries. Ava's played through a sprained ankle. Liza's got 2 shoulders. Jess went through some pain when she was powerlifting. Kaylee's had her arm injured. CJ got hurt. I could go through the whole list. We feel like we should have a medical doctor in the dugout on staff. But they have a lot of what the baseball was talking about, grit. Actually, you don't see the pain that they play through every day. And going through those 24 games in that month, I know we were playing through a lot of pain. We had a lot of girls that had to play through discomfort because we were already shorthanded with injuries, but they went out there and gutted up and did it, including our pitching staff, Addie and Kaylee, both pitching through pain. And so I think they're a special group. And they, like I said, they have a lot of fun. There's a lot of electricity on the field, and there's never a dull moment, and they get after it. They're just fun to watch.
And so, Coach, you and I both know as parents of softball kids now, right? You and I are experiencing that. These girls have been doing this since they could stand up to a tee and hit a softball. For you, talk about that, just that pride and what that feels like to know that you get them for these 4 years, and then some of them actually you can help them continue to play softball and follow those dreams on into the collegiate world.
It's really nice. We have a lot of select coaches that do a lot of great things for them as well, and we have a lot of dads. Their parents are very, very involved, do a lot for us, and it's just a blessing to have them because I get them when they already have certain skill sets, and so it's not all me, but I just hope that I can actually get them to another level and have them enjoy playing high school ball, because this is a 4 years you'll never get back. And I see it with my daughter. I tell them all the time, I used to be one of those coaches that would look at parents and go, oh my goodness, I can't believe you're upset. It's just a sprained ankle. But the first time my daughter fell over in little basketball and started crying on the court, I wanted to run out of the stands. And that was the moment I got it. So I just want them to have fun and enjoy it. And I don't think anybody who hasn't played high school sports doesn't understand how much of a blessing it is. It's a special time in your life, and people always, when they give it up, they look back and wish, hey, I wish I could go back and just do this one more time. I would love to put on that uniform one more time. And I hope my daughter sticks with it. There's, the mother-daughter relationship with coaching. Sometimes I have to turn her over to her grandfather because she and I fight too much. But I hope she puts on this jersey someday.
Well, that'll be awesome. We know we're just a few years away, and hopefully my daughter will be joining you, because that's about the time. So Thank you, Coach Stoughton. Thank you, Ava, Jessica, and Eliza, for joining us here on Rattler Up, and good luck the rest of your season.
Thank you. Thank you for having us.
All right, well, we have covered a lot here on Rattler Up this week, and we're still not done, Coach. It was an eventful spring break, so we're going to get a full Rattler Nation update to kind of wrap up the episode this week, because there was a lot going on since we last had an episode, and of course over the spring break. And so, Coach, we want to start and kind of finish up the story basically with boys basketball. So on our last episode, the boys were in the middle of a thrilling playoff run, as we know, and we had started talking about what was going on there. Let's look at the playoffs. In by district, they get the 50-48 win over Clark, a 2-point game. It was hard. It was just edge of your seat. Had us freaking out in the first round. Area, the huge win, 54-48 over Westlake, the team that was a matchup that people were waiting all season to see, San Marcos versus Westlake, correct?
Absolutely. And the crowd kind of told that story. I mean, luckily we were at a gym out at Bowie where there was a window, because the fire marshal came and shut it down. So there were close to 100 people watching from the outside.
Yeah, exactly. It was incredible. So then we get to those regional quarterfinals. We get the 62-46 win over Reagan. Gets us to the semifinals, a 53-50 win over Warren. And then we're sitting there in the regional finals. Coach, you're playing for the win that gets you to the Alamo Dome, gets you to the state semis. But we dropped that game to Brennan.
Right.
What an incredible run. It was so exciting to be at those games live. It was exciting to see the students be a part of that. And we're going to talk here in a little bit, because we've got another team that's getting ready to start that playoff run. I hope Rattler Nation found out exactly how powerful they are as a team, or as a unit. But talk to us about how you can use the success from a single team like that. What boys basketball did. What impact does that have for you as the athletic director across all Rattler athletics?
Yeah, you've heard the term, success breeds success, and it's true, because it's that feel good. Our crowds grew. I mean, they put a historic season together. As far as total wins, how far we advanced. I think it's 40 years since a team has advanced as far as they have. But they did it the right way. Our coaches coached hard. You could tell there was good hard work put into play, and the kids were taking the coach in, and it was just fun. It was fun basketball to watch, and then to see us fill up whatever stadium we were at in Northside.
And we filled them.
Yeah, and we filled it up. And, I mean, to watch the energy of San Marcos get behind them. But to answer your question, yeah, our whole school felt good throughout the basketball season. And it doesn't go away. It sits, and you hope baseball and softball, and like you said, we got girls soccer entering the playoffs right now, feed off of it, because it's you can't beat that feel good.
Yeah, absolutely. And your heart breaks when the final buzzer sounds. And we talked last season on Rattler Up as seasons were coming to an end. When the drawback, I guess, it's a drawback worth taking. But obviously, when you get to that final game, those seniors aren't expecting any of these games to be their last game, because the goal is to get to that state title. And so when they hit that moment of realizing, I'm done. I've worn the purple and gray for the last time. That's tough to watch, especially so as the athletic director, I would imagine.
And it's a great learning moment. I've been doing this for 28 years, so it's hard to be the last person standing. And there's been so many times where you're close and you don't make it, but I promise you reflect on that moment. Later on in life, you don't know it, whether it's at your job or it's in a relationship, and how you handle success and all of a sudden failure, and how you react to that. They learned that day a life lesson. They just don't know it yet.
Well, and I hope they understand, and again, it may be something that comes later, that they understand what it meant to the city, what it meant to the community. and just how long-standing that the memories that they created this season will take them.
Absolutely.
And so we got some other teams that are hoping to create some of those same memories. We've got golf and tennis with district tournaments coming up this week.
Yep.
We talked a little bit about individual sport, but a team effort, and they do a great job with that. Golf, their district. The girls have district Monday and Tuesday of next week. Boys go Wednesday and Thursday. Everybody's at Olympia Hills Golf Club in San Antonio. Had a great golf tournament fundraiser over spring break. You and I were there. I loosely used the word participate.
Right.
I mean, we swung golf clubs. I guess you could consider that participating, but
I was on a team, and they never used my ball.
Oh, no.
I think I hit a putt. They gave me a small putt. So, but yeah, I'm terrible. I'm a great cart driver, and I'm good company. That's
well, there you
about
go.
it.
And so thanks to everybody that supported the golf team over spring break out at the golf tournament fundraiser. And then tennis, this next Tuesday and Wednesday, March 28th and 29th, they'll head down for their district tournament. And so, like you mentioned, one team that's already there, they're ready to go. They've got the playoffs in sight, and that is girls soccer getting ready to begin their own playoff run. They finished District 5, 3, and 2, good for third place overall and a spot in the playoffs. And I think this girls soccer team was the epitome of what Coach Webb and Coach Stoughton talked about. It's not about the place you finish. It's about how hot are you at the right time. And this team got hot at the perfect time.
Yeah, and I watched this soccer. And I'm gonna go back to last year because it's Coach Hormus, first year. It's her second year. Her brand of soccer has morphed into what we're seeing right now. And I watched the girls play early in the year and still didn't see it. And then now the last 2 games I've watched, you're seeing good ball control soccer. And they play great defense. I mean, I think I'm not a big soccer knowledge guru, but I know when we're attacking the goal, and I know when someone can defend the goal good, and we defend our goal very well, and we have good spacing and ball control.
Well, and I've seen that impact on the other team because, again, we know soccer is obviously a generally low-scoring game, but you don't want to put up the 0. And you've seen teams that haven't gotten that score into the second period, move deeper into the game, and the frustration setting in. And that's just such a huge piece for these soccer girls that they've been able to input that frustration in the opposing team because we're not letting you put the ball in the net.
No, and like these dugouts, I get a great vantage point as the AD. I don't like to watch from the stands. I don't like to hear people in the stands talk. So I like to be on the field and in dugouts. So watching from baseball to softball, I sat on the girls' sideline for the New Braunfels game, and they have that same. It's not. I think it's a great, pat on our back as a program that those relationships are cultivated in every sport that we talk about because those girls coach themselves, they lead themselves, and they root for each other. So it was fun to be on their sideline.
All right, well, their bi-district playoff game is this Thursday at 5 p.m. at Comalander Stadium in San Antonio as Our Lady Rattlers take on the Reagan Rattlers. Double check, it's about a 45-minute drive from here to the north side of San Antonio. Now, you'll have to leave work a little bit early, get that 5 o'clock start, but as always, Coach Walsh will be more than happy to write you a note for work so you can get out early and get out there. And again, the basketball playoffs showed the power you have, San Marcos. Rattler Nation, you're a unit. You're a part of this. And when you show up in big waves, it translates on the field, on the court, correct?
Yeah, players and coaches feed off the energy from the stands. We play for lots of reasons, but when that crowd's right, we definitely play for the crowd.
All right. Well, exciting times for all things Rattler Nation here in San Marcos, and we want you to be a part of it every chance you get. Well, we're going to go ahead and wrap that up this week on Rattler Up, the best place to go for the best information on Rattler Nation. Now, Coach, we talk about the business of the season a great deal, but it's really what makes this portion of the year so great, the busyness of the season, all right?
Absolutely.
All right, well, before we go, we always want to remind people, again, all the opportunities they have to catch the Rattlers in action. First up, tomorrow night, head out to the baseball field as the Rattlers take on Steele. Varsity first pitch is at 7 o'clock. Friday night, come on back to the softball field as the Rattlers host New Braunfels. That varsity first pitch also at 7 o'clock. Coach, middle schools be in action this week?
So Thursday night, varsity play is fun. You get to make the playoffs, but some of my favorite times are these Thursday night track meets that we have with Miller and Goodnight out there and watching all the future Rattlers compete. And so it's, again, doing this for as long as I've done it, you see them come through the middle school ranks and and where they get to end up. And when I first got here, those guys that were here were just coming out of middle school. So it's fun to watch the youngins compete.
That's the future Rattlers. That's exactly what we want to see. Now, of course, the big one. Mark your calendars. Girls soccer team has their bi-district matchup this Thursday, 5 p.m., Comalander Stadium in San Antonio. The Lady Rattlers taking on the Reagan Rattlers, and we need a packed house to make the difference. Now, before we go, Coach, we want to spend a special congratulations out to an SMHS staff member, science teacher, and cross-country coach Michael Morris. Competed in the Los Angeles Marathon over spring break. He finished with a time of 2 hours and 22 minutes, good for 7th overall in the LA Marathon. He was the second fastest time among American racers. Coach, how incredible is this Rattler performance at the LA Marathon?
It is incredible because most coaches played sports in high school and some in college, and you hope to model and emulate and show your kids, hey, this is how you do it, right? When you get my age, you can't do it as well as you thought you could when you were younger, and he's still doing it. I watch him run out there with them kids, and if they're chasing him, they're getting faster.
Exactly. So congratulations, Coach Morris. Incredible job. Thanks for representing. Coach, have you ever run the old 26.2 miles?
Never.
How far do you think you or I would get in 2 hours and 22 minutes? He knocks out 26.2.
My max is 3 miles. I don't run past 3 miles.
And that takes about 2 hours and 22 minutes.
Long time.
All right, well, that does it for this week's Rattler Up. We want to thank everybody for joining us, especially the baseball and softball teams for joining us live in studio. Special thanks, of course, to our producer, Josh, and all of that great platform that they're providing us to showcase Rattler Nation. Remember, every night, every Monday, you can always check out another episode. You can go back in the archives and watch old episodes. Go to YouTube and search VYPE, VYPE, and look for Rattler Up. We're there. You can catch old episodes, see new stuff, and always know what's going on in Rattler Nation. Thanks to Jack Moore and all the student technicians here that produce us in the Rattler broadcast studio. Another great camera setup, 4 cameras. We're really stepping it up. We appreciate that we get to be that guinea pig, and we're just so proud of everything that they're cranking out here in the studio. So that does it for this week. For Coach Walsh, I'm CJ Odeman. Thanks for joining us here on Rattler Up.